The Blackwood family dinner was always a spectacle of wealth and pretense, held in the grand dining room of the Heritage Hotel's penthouse suite, 48 floors above Manhattan. Crystal chandeliers reflected off sterling silver place settings, while waiters in immaculate uniforms glided silently between guests. I wasn't allowed to sit at the main table. "Sarah, darling," Grandmother Elizabeth's voice dripped with false sweetness, "be a dear and make sure everyone's water glasses are filled." At 25 years old, with 2 master's degrees in hospitality management and business administration, I was still treated as service staff at family gatherings. The other grandchildren, my cousins, smirked behind their napkins as I moved around the table with a crystal pitcher. Mother, my mom, Catherine Blackwood, CEO of Blackwood International Hotels, spoke quietly but firmly. "Sarah is a guest, not staff." "Oh." Grandmother raised a perfectly penciled eyebrow. "I thought we were honoring her heritage. After all, isn't that what her mother did?" Served. The silence that fell over the table was thick enough to cut with the antique butter knives arranged precisely beside each plate. "Isabella was a valued member of this family," Mom said, her knuckles white around her fork. "A valued servant, you mean," my cousin Olivia corrected with a smirk. "Though apparently not valued enough to keep her legs closed around." "That's enough." Mom's voice cracked like a whip. Even Grandmother jumped slightly. I continued pouring water, my hands steady despite the familiar ache in my chest. I'd heard the whispers my entire life, how my mother, Isabella, the Blackwood family's trusted maid, had seduced some wealthy guest or business associate. How Catherine, instead of firing her, had taken pity and raised me as her own after Isabella died in childbirth. Well, Grandmother sniffed. At least Catherine taught her proper service etiquette. Though I doubt she'll ever manage more than entry-level work in our hotels. If only they knew I was already managing 3 of our flagship properties through shell companies, my identity hidden behind layers of corporate structure that Mom had helped me create. Every innovation they'd praised in the past year, every record-breaking profit margin, had come from my strategies. Actually, my cousin Marcus chimed in. "I heard the Dubai properties numbers are incredible lately. Someone's doing something right over there." "That would be Maxwell's work," Grandmother said proudly, referring to her favorite grandson. "He's been overseeing international operations." Maxwell, who spent more time in clubs than boardrooms, shot me a warning look. He'd been taking credit for my work for months, with my permission. Mom and I had decided it was better that way. Let them underestimate me while I learned every aspect of the business from the ground up. Speaking of operations, Mom changed the subject smoothly. "I've called this dinner to discuss some organizational changes." The family leaned forward eagerly. Blackwood International Hotels was the crown jewel of luxury hospitality, with over 300 properties worldwide. Any change in operations meant potential power shifts. "I'm stepping down as CEO." The announcement hit like a bomb. Glasses froze halfway to lips. Forks clattered onto fine china. "What?" Grandmother's voice was sharp. "Don't be ridiculous, Catherine. You're only 53. "My decision is final," Mom said calmly. "The announcement goes public tomorrow." "Well, obviously Maxwell will," Grandmother began. "The board has already approved my choice of successor." Now everyone was calculating, assuming, hoping. My cousins straightened in their chairs, each believing they were the chosen one. "Sarah, please sit down," Mom said. "Catherine," Grandmother protested. "You can't have the help at the table during business discussions." "My daughter will sit." Mom's tone left no room for argument. I took my place beside her, feeling the heated glares from around the table. The water pitcher had been my shield. Without it, I felt exposed. As I was saying, Mom continued, "The succession plan is in place. I've spent the past 5 years preparing my successor, having them work their way through every level of operations." Maxwell preened, clearly thinking she meant him. "The Dubai property's success was just one test," Mom went on. "Along with the revolutionary changes in our Asian markets, the new sustainable initiatives in Europe, and the complete overhaul of our boutique brand." Now other cousins were sitting taller, each having been nominally in charge of various regions. All of these innovations, Mom said, came from one person. The same person who has worked as a housekeeper, front desk clerk, events coordinator, and finally, shadow CEO for the past 18 months. The confusion on their faces would have been comical if I hadn't been holding my breath. Sarah will assume the role of CEO effective next month. The explosion was instantaneous. The maid's daughter. This is absurd. She has no right. I won't accept this. Grandmother's voice cut through the chaos. Catherine, have you lost your mind? She's not even a real Blackwood. Mom's next words stopped everyone cold. Actually, Mother, that's the second announcement of the evening. She reached for her briefcase and withdrew a thick envelope. I had planned to wait, but perhaps now is the perfect time. The documents she spread on the table included birth certificates, DNA tests, and photographs I'd never seen before. Isabella wasn't Sarah's mother, Mom said quietly. I am. The room spun. I gripped the edge of the table, staring at the papers that rewrote my entire existence. That's impossible, Grandmother whispered. Is it? Mom's voice was steel. You arranged my marriage to Charles when I was 20, a loveless merger of hotel empires. Did you never wonder why I filed for divorce just 2 years later? Why I disappeared for 9 months afterward? Old society photos show a younger version of my mother, her pregnancy cleverly concealed by expert photography and strategic poses. Isabella was my dearest friend, Mom continued. She agreed to help hide the truth. My pregnancy, my child. Born out of a relationship that would have scandalized our conservative investors. Who? Grandmother demanded. Who was the father? Does it matter? He died before Sarah was born, never knowing about her. But I knew I couldn't let my child be tainted by scandal, so Isabella helped me create a story. She gave her life to protect us, dying of genuine complications that had nothing to do with childbirth. I stared at my mother, my real mother, seeing for the first time how our eyes were the same shade of green, how our hands shared the same long fingers. The truth has been buried in corporate vaults for 25 years, Mom said, along with my will, which the board has already validated. She placed another document on the table. In the event of my death or retirement, control of Blackwood International Hotels passes entirely to my sole heir. My daughter, Sarah Isabella Blackwood. The silence was absolute. You can't do this, Grandmother finally said, but her voice shook. I already have. Mom stood, gesturing for me to do the same. The papers will be filed tomorrow. Sarah isn't the maid's daughter playing at being a Blackwood. She is a Blackwood, trained from childhood to understand both privilege and responsibility. Every insult, every demeaning task you gave her just proved what I already knew. She has the strength to lead without letting power corrupt her. We walked toward the door, but Mom paused. Oh, and Mother. Sarah's first act as CEO will be to rename our flagship property. The Isabella Blackwood Hotel has a nice ring to it, don't you think? The next morning, headlines exploded across financial news networks. Blackwood Hotel's CEO announces surprise successor, and hidden heiress revealed. The billion-dollar secret. I sat in what was now my office on the 50th floor, watching Manhattan sparkle through floor-to-ceiling windows. The same office where I once emptied wastebaskets and dusted shelves, pretending to be a simple cleaning staff member while learning every detail of the empire I would one day lead. Your morning brief, Ms. Blackwood, my assistant said as he entered, still awkward with my new title. Thank you, James. I took the folder, noting how the same employees who once ignored me now scrambled to attention. And the board meeting. Set for 10 a.m. They're anxious to meet with you. Of course they were. The board of directors had known about my true identity. Mom had insisted on their discretion years ago. But most assumed I would take over gradually, not in one dramatic succession. My phone buzzed continuously with messages from cousins, ranging from threats to sudden declarations of family loyalty. I ignored them all. A soft knock announced Mom's arrival. She looked lighter somehow, as if decades of secrets had finally been lifted. The vultures are circling, she said, taking a seat. Grandmother's lawyers have been calling all morning. Let them, I replied, reviewing the documents in front of me. Everything's ironclad, isn't it? More than they know. While they were underestimating you, we were building your control. Every major decision in the past 2 years has your signature on it, through various shell companies. You're not just legally in charge. You're practically irreplaceable. The intercom buzzed. Ms. Blackwood, your grandmother is here. She doesn't have an appointment. Send her in, I said, meeting Mom's concerned look with a calm smile. Time to face the dragon. Grandmother Elizabeth swept in, her designer suit perfectly pressed, her face tight with fury. "This ends now," she announced. "Good morning to you too, grandmother." I gestured to a chair. "Would you like to sit?" "Don't play games with me, girl. Whatever Catherine's told you is documented, verified, and legally binding," I finished. "Would you like to see the DNA test results again?" She remained standing, hands gripping her crocodile skin handbag. "You can't possibly think you can run this company." I tapped my keyboard, bringing up projections on the wall screen. Dubai revenues up 40% under my management. Asian market penetration increased by 60%. European sustainability initiatives are saving us $50 million annually while boosting bookings. Which part of that suggests I can't run the company? Those were Maxwell's. "Maxwell hasn't worked a full week in 3 years," I cut in. "Check his badge access records. While he was partying in Ibiza, I was implementing those strategies. Ask him to explain even basic revenue models. He can't." Mom watched silently, a small smile playing at her lips. "The board won't stand for this," grandmother said. "The board approved it 6 months ago. They've watched me work, grandmother. They know exactly what I can do." "And what about tradition? Image? Our clients expect." "Our clients expect excellence," I said, rising and walking to the window. "They don't care if it comes from the Maid's daughter or a secret heiress, as long as their experience is impeccable. And it will be." "You're vindictive," she spat. "You'll destroy everything we built." "No," I turned to face her. "I'm going to build it higher, starting with the Isabella Blackwood Hotel. You can't change the Heritage's name. It's been. The paperwork is already filed. Would you like to know why?" I picked up an old photograph from my desk. Isabella didn't just pretend to be my mother. She gave her life protecting this family's reputation. She deserves to be remembered. Grandmother's face flushed. "You're just like Catherine, too emotional, too successful," Mom interjected. "Too good at seeing past outdated prejudices to what really matters." The intercom buzzed again. "Ms. Blackwood, the board is gathering early. They're requesting you join them." "Thank you, James." I gathered my files. "Grandmother, you're welcome to stay for the announcement. After all, family is family. Isn't that what you always said?" In the boardroom, 20 of the most powerful people in hospitality waited. Some had known my secret. Others looked shocked at my entrance. All watched intently as I took my place at the head of the table. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, "you've known me for years as Sarah, the quiet observer. Today, you know me as Sarah Blackwood, CEO. But the only thing that's changed is your perception, not my abilities, not my vision, and certainly not my determination to take this company forward." For the next hour, I laid out my plans. Innovation balanced with tradition, expansion tempered with sustainability, a future where luxury meant more than just expensive furnishings. When I finished, the room was silent. Then the board chairman spoke. "I think I speak for everyone when I say, Catherine chose well." Later that evening, as celebrations wound down, Mom found me in my new office. "How does it feel?" she asked. I looked at the city lights, remembering all the nights I cleaned this same window, dreaming of this moment. "It feels right." "Your father would be proud," she said softly. I turned. "You've never told me about him." She smiled sadly. "Another story for another time. Tonight, you're CEO of Blackwood International. That's enough truth for one day, don't you think?" A message flashed on my phone. Grandmother had just checked into our Paris hotel, apparently fleeing the media circus. "Let her run," Mom said, noting my expression. "She'll learn, just like everyone else, that you're not just my daughter, you're my successor in every way that matters." I touched the nameplate on my desk. Sarah Isabella Blackwood, Chief Executive Officer. Because sometimes the greatest revenge isn't proving others wrong, it's proving yourself right. And sometimes the most powerful legacy isn't the one you're born into, but the one you build yourself. 6 months into my role as CEO, I stood in the grand ballroom of what would soon be the Isabella Blackwood Hotel. The $100 million renovation was nearly complete, transforming our flagship property into something that honored both tradition and truth. "Ms. Blackwood." The project manager approached nervously. "We've uncovered something during the renovation of the old service quarters." I followed him to what had once been staff housing. Behind a removed wall panel, we found a small metal box. Inside was a letter, yellowed with age, addressed to me in Isabella's handwriting. My hands trembled as I opened it. "Dearest Sarah, If you're reading this, then Catherine has finally told you the truth. I write this knowing I may not survive to see you grow up. Your mother is my dearest friend, and protecting you both has been my life's greatest purpose. What Catherine may not have told you is that I knew your father. He was a brilliant man who would have loved you deeply, but sometimes love isn't enough against the power of family expectations and corporate empires. In the hidden safe behind the painting in room 4801, you'll find everything you need to know. With all my love, Isabella, room 4801, the presidential suite. I practically ran to the elevator, my heart pounding. The painting had been there for decades, a massive oil landscape that had witnessed countless secret dealings and corporate negotiations. Behind it, just as Isabella's letter promised, was a safe I'd never known existed. The combination was in her letter, my birth date. Inside, I found another letter, photographs, and a worn leather journal. The first photo made me gasp. A younger version of my mother, laughing in the arms of a handsome man I recognized instantly from old magazine covers. Alexander Chen, the tech visionary who revolutionized mobile computing before his tragic death in a plane crash 25 years ago. The timing matched perfectly with my birth. Mom found me sitting on the suite's floor, surrounded by the evidence of a love story I'd never known. I wondered if Isabella left something, she said softly, sitting beside me. She was always protecting us, even at the end. Alexander Chen was my father, I whispered. The Alexander Chen? She nodded, touching the photograph gently. We met when his company was looking to integrate their technology into our hotels. Brilliant, kind, visionary, and completely unacceptable to both our families. His parents wanted him to marry within their culture. Mine wanted the merger with the European hotel chain. We kept our relationship secret, but what happened? I got pregnant. Alexander wanted to defy everyone, go public. Then his plane crashed on the way to a meeting where he planned to announce he was leaving his company to be with us. The official report said mechanical failure, but I always wondered. The implications hung heavy in the air. Grandmother. She never knew about Alexander, but she would have destroyed everything to prevent a scandal. Isabella helped me hide my pregnancy and pretended to be your mother. She gave up everything to protect us. The journal contained Alexander's private thoughts, his dreams for the future, his excitement about the baby he'd never meet. The last entry was dated the day before his crash. Tomorrow changes everything. Catherine and our child deserve the truth, no matter the cost. Some things are worth more than empires. My phone buzzed, a message from the board. Our Asian expansion was exceeding all projections. The Chen family's holdings there had mysteriously opened doors for us, though no one could explain why. They know, Mom said quietly. The Chen family. They've been watching you, seeing their son in your innovations, your fearlessness. It explained the strange ease with which we entered markets that had blocked our competitors, my father's family silently supporting his daughter without ever acknowledging me. The renovation, I said suddenly. That's why you supported changing the name to the Isabella Blackwood. You knew her letter was here. She told me before she died. Said the truth should come out when you were ready to handle it. Looking at what you've accomplished, I'd say she was right. I stood walking to the window. Below, workers were installing the new hotel signage, Isabella Blackwood in elegant gold letters. The press will explode when this comes out, I mused. If it comes out, Mom corrected. That's your choice now. You're CEO. Your legacy is yours to shape. I thought about the past 6 months, how I'd revolutionize our properties, integrating technology and tradition in ways hailed as visionary. Just like my father would have done. No more secrets, I decided. Isabella died protecting truth that should have been told. I won't hide anymore. The next morning, I called a press conference. The world's media gathered in the same ballroom where I found Isabella's letter. Ladies and gentlemen, I began. Today we're announcing more than just a hotel renovation. We're announcing a truth that's been hidden for 25 years. Cameras flash as I told the story. My mother's love affair with Alexander Chen, Isabella's sacrifice, and the hidden legacy of 2 powerful families united in one secret child. The Isabella Blackwood Hotel stands as a testament to love, truth, and the power of looking beyond appearances, I concluded. Just as Isabella saw past social barriers to help 2 people in love, this hotel will welcome all who appreciate both luxury and authenticity. The questions exploded. Are the Chens acknowledging you? Will this affect Asian markets? What does your grandmother say? My grandmother. A familiar voice cut through the chaos, is right here. Grandmother Elizabeth stood in the doorway, looking older and somehow smaller than I remembered. And she has something to say. The room hushed as she walked to the podium. For a moment, I thought she would denounce everything. Instead, she took my hand. My granddaughter, she said clearly into the microphones, has shown me that true legacy isn't about hiding truth, but embracing it. The Blackwood-Chen alliance isn't a scandal, it's the future, and Sarah is its perfect representative. Later in my office, she explained, I received visitors in Paris, the Chen family. They showed me things, Alexander's letters, his plans for the future. He loved your mother very much, and his family. They're ready to acknowledge you publicly. The implications for our business were staggering, but more important was the sense of completion, of circles closing. That evening, I visited Isabella's grave for the first time since learning the truth. The simple headstone would soon be replaced with something grander, marking her true importance to our family. Thank you, I whispered, placing roses on the grass. For everything. Above me, the new hotel sign glowed in the twilight. Isabella Blackwood Hotel, where a maid's wisdom had shaped an empire's future, and where a hidden daughter had finally found her true inheritance. Because sometimes the greatest legacy isn't what we own, but what we dare to tell. And sometimes the most powerful truth is the one that sets us free. 1 year after the revelation, I stood on the rooftop helipad of the Isabella Blackwood Hotel, watching a sleek helicopter descend. My Chinese grandparents, the Chen family, were making their first public visit to meet their granddaughter. The past year had transformed everything. Our hotel chain had merged with Chen Technologies, creating smart rooms that anticipated guests' needs. The stock had tripled. But more importantly, two families had finally healed old wounds. The elderly couple who stepped from the helicopter looked nervous. 25 years of silence weighed heavily between us. Welcome to New York, I said in careful Mandarin, the language I'd secretly studied after learning my heritage. My grandfather's eyes filled with tears. You look just like him, he said softly. Alexander smiled. We should have known, my grandmother added, touching my face. The way you innovate, the fearless changes, pure Chen family traits. Inside my office, we sat with Mom and, surprisingly, Grandmother Elizabeth. The two grandmothers, once separated by pride and prejudice, had found common ground in their shared grandchild. We've brought something, my Chinese grandmother said, opening an ornate box. Inside was a jade pendant, the same one Alexander wore in old photos. Your father wanted you to have this, my grandfather explained. We kept it, waiting for the right moment. As they fastened it around my neck, I caught Mom wiping away tears. The weight of the jade felt like completion, like belonging. There's something else, I said, leading them to the hotel's newest feature. The heritage wall told our story in photos and artifacts. Isabella's uniform, Alexander's journal, the letters that had revealed everything. But the centerpiece was a massive portrait, Alexander and Mom, young and in love, their hope and courage preserved in oil and canvas. The next generation will know the truth, I explained. About love that defied expectations. About sacrifice that protected dreams. About a maid who became legend. That evening, both families dined together in the penthouse. My cousins, now respectful and eager to learn, listened as the Chens shared stories of Alexander's youth. Grandmother Elizabeth and Grandmother Chen compared notes on raising brilliant, stubborn children. Mom leaned close to whisper, Isabella would have loved this. She does, I replied. Her spirit is in every room, every truth finally told. Later, alone in my office, I opened Alexander's journal to his final entry. His words about truth being worth more than empires had guided my every decision this past year. The jade pendant caught the light, throwing green shadows, like hints of futures yet to come, in merging past and present, secrets and truth. We had created something greater than hotel empires or tech fortunes. We created a legacy built on love, not lies. Power founded on truth, not pretense. And somewhere, I knew Isabella and Alexander were smiling. Because sometimes the greatest inheritance isn't what's in the will, but what's in the heart. And sometimes the most powerful empire isn't built on secrets kept, but on truths finally told.